Hello, my fellow gamers. This is Shadow from Shadow Online Gaming, and I have some very, very exciting news. But I need to explain first of all, if you're not from my channel, that's because I've taken over Pshyc's Online Gaming channel. So if you guys are viewing from his channel, yeah, there he is. I've not just completely kidnapped his video channel. I bet your viewers are thinking, who the hell's Shadow Online Gamer? What?
Yes. Did this guy change his name?
Yeah, pretty much. So obviously for you guys that are from my channel, this is Pshyc Online Gaming, who jumped in for the Ultimate Chaos League, and for those on Pshyc's channel, I'm the guy who came up with the Ultimate Chaos League because I'm good with that sort of thing. So
Yes,
Pshyc,
fantastic.
I've been talking a lot. You're excited about this mod.
Yes.
So what's special about this mod?
I am indeed. Okay, so this is the, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the Radious Total War mod for Warhammer 2. And I am very happy with it because this actually brings in the old world races into the new game, which, yes, which means we can actually end up playing Empire versus Skaven, for example, or, you know, High Elves versus something ridiculous like the Norska. And that is fantastic. So that's just amazing.
Absolutely. So this quick video is just going to be us going, because we're going to do a best out of 4. We're going to do 4 classic lineups, aren't we, Pshyc?
Yes.
Where we're going to have the new against the old. So did you want to do?
Yes. Sure. So it took us like 40 minutes to decide who needs to match up with who, but we decided that we wanted to do a Lizardmen versus Chaos matchup. Both of them pretty much brute strength, good versus evil, so yes. We're also going to be doing a Dark Elves versus Empire, which is pretty cool. At the end of the day, humans are fairly egotistical, so it's more about just who's the better humanoid. Yes, and then we've got Vampires versus the High Elves. That's fantastic. Both of them very magic-heavy races, so that's a good matchup. And finally, we will end with the Stunties versus the Shorties, which is pretty much the Dwarfs versus the Skaven.
Which I think is going to be my favourite.
Yeah, I think that's going to be amazing. So we've actually decided to split this up as well between myself and Shadow. So I will be playing 2 of the new races versus 2 of the old races, and Shadow will be playing 2 of the new races versus 2 of the old races. So Shadow, you're going to start with, you're going to be representing Chaos and Empire. Would you like to take us just through some of the new units that's in this mod?
I will indeed, because that's something we didn't mention. Not only doesn't this add the old races with that from the campaign, the Total War 2 campaign, but it adds the new units, and they have got some ridiculously good units. This is so hype. So this is just going to be running through the new stuff. So I'll quickly go over Chaos. Have you got the Chaos screen up on your screen?
Well, I clicked on your icon, so I've got on my screen whatever you have on your screen, man.
Well, let's hope it's the same thing. So, as we go along, as you can see, you've got the standard Norska Morders, the Chaos Morders, but then you've got the first new one, Chaos Morders of dual weapons. So,
interesting.
Anti-infantry, good bit of charge and cutting up there.
Yeah, they actually do like 5 bonus damage versus infantry, and the armor piercing is not too damn bad.
I need to remember to look at that, because I had a subscriber say, can you look at that in detail, the armor piercing and the bonus? It's like, yeah, I should probably do that. So as you can see there,
those things are important.
Wow, I glazed over them. These were like 20-minute videos I was doing before. But anyway, we've got Kurgan's Hunters, I believe that is how it's pronounced. The next one's along 740. These are shielded, but they have Vanguard deployment, which is a big thing.
And you know what I find interesting about them? They have a silver shield.
Yes. Yeah, that's 55.
That means they're blocking 50% of... It's 50%,
50% exactly.
Or was it 50?
It's 50%
exactly that they're blocking. For a 740 unit that can Vanguard deploy, that's pretty damn good.
That is... It's... so we got next the Crimson Skull Cultists, which are active infantry, armored, shielded, causes terror. That's just underlined. These guys cause terror for 770 gold, and they're unbreakable.
These Yes, that was what I was gonna say. These guys can be like a middle line that causes terror, causes fear, silver shield, of course, and they're unbreakable. Pretty
Wow.
freaking cool.
That's insane. So we got Chaos Warriors of Halberd, which I believe were in the original, but
And all the hype.
Chaos Dwarf Warriors, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't realise these
They
were
have made it
in.
in.
To Pshyc said, "Oh, Shadow, have you seen this? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" So as you can see, armored and
Yeah.
shielded, charge defense against all. So they'll be good against the flanks
Yes.
against cavalry. I would have thought.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, they have the dwarven trait, magic resistance of 25.
I just noticed that, yeah, and just glaze over. What I'm doing is the weapon strength. I'm hovering over it. If you guys want to view it, pause the video, because there's so much to cover. We're not going to have time to go through every little detail. So then you got Chaos Dwarves with great weapons. So now they've got anti-large and armor piercing.
Dude, great weapons would suggest armor piercing, but no. They've got anti-large and armor piercing. Really cool unit. Really cool unit. And it doesn't say it in their statistics card. They got that charge defense as well.
Have they? Now, here's a question though. Because this is a dwarf, does anti-large count as anything taller than him? Because that's humans, that's elves.
No. It's anything that weighs more than him, okay?
That would probably work better. So you've got, obviously, a great weapon. Chaos Warriors with dual weapons.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's the anti-infantry buff, but they've got the armor as well, Chaos Warriors, which is going to be mad.
Yeah, so that's pretty insane.
The Skullbinders, so armored, anti-large, Vanguard deployment. Again, there's a lot of Vanguard deployment in these guys. It's kind of scary.
Actually have a massive bonus versus large, though. Just to note, it's like 16. And the damage is so well split. Regular is 21, armor piercing 21, and large is 16. So if it's like armored and it's large, that's like a buttload of damage.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, with the classic lineup of Chaos and Lizardmen, he's going to be dangerous against your big guys. That'd be scary.
Yes.
But so next,
they need to be dealt with somehow.
Yeah, skinks. Just mass them with skinks and hold them place.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you've next got the Followers of Khorne, because now we have dedicated God warriors, and this isn't. So this is actually in the Total War 2 game. So armored and shielded, armor piercing, charge defense against all. And immune to psychology, of course. They've got sundered armor. I didn't notice that first time. Minus 30 armor.
Yes, they do. It's a lot. It is a lot. They can really rip through armor, these guys.
Do they actually have shields? Because I'm kind of annoyed.
Yeah, they do.
Followers of Khorne
Yeah, they do.
Shields.
They've got a silver shield and 117 armor. They're tough.
They are.
They're really, really tough.
And the armor piercing's 22, weapon damage 18. So we've got Chosen with great weapons. Plague Warriors of Nurgle. So
almost the same thing.
But poisoned. And I believe, where's Followers of Khorne? They have, they've got specifically anti-infantry as well. Yes. So just going over.
They just lack the armor piercing, of course.
Yeah, that's the one. Then you got Chosen of Nurgle, which I believe are just the tougher, more expensive versions.
Same thing, yeah.
Slightly more expensive. Is it?
Yes.
That's what I'm just comparing.
Yeah,
so they've got
like 50 points.
Yeah, I'm just.
For 50 points, you get 300. But for 50 points, you get plus 300 health. You get 2 additional damage. You get 2 additional weapon strength, and you get 2 additional charge.
But they do.
The only real difference, they're not shielded.
That's what the difference is, yeah. So it depends, because if you're going against something that hasn't got much range, you don't need to worry too much of the shield.
You don't need to worry. Agreed, yeah.
So next is the Ravens of Zinch, which are armored, armor piercing, anti-large. So these are the anti-large of the Chaos Army, and they've got charge defense against it, magical attacks, flame attacks,
cause fear.
And they cause fear as well. Damn.
That is correct.
That is. And immune to psychology, obviously, just going over the weapon damage. There you go. See, I listen to my viewers. It's Next, we've got the Chosen of Slaanesh. So action infantry,
fantastic unit.
Yeah, the damage dealer, melee experts, as we expect.
Silver shield, 122 armor, by the way.
Flippin' heck. that is. And of course, magical attacks.
That is massive amounts. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
And they've got encourage.
So they have.
They share their leadership.
Oh, of course, because they're chosen, aren't they? So.
It's pretty good.
Then you got the Dark Prince.
But they're the only ones. Only Slaanesh gets that encourage. Sorry, continue.
No, it makes sense because they're motivational. They're good at that, people talking and all that. So we've moved on to the Dark Prince Warriors. Yeah, so it makes sense. Armored, armor piercing, damage dealer. So magical attacks. That pretty much quite similar. What's the difference? It's mainly
the one has shields, the other one doesn't.
Axe infantry with shields. The other ones are great swords. Got it.
Yes.
So, and then you've got the Chosen of Zints. As we all know, I love Zints. So,
still really good. Silver shield, 122 armor.
I think it's more the magic and flaming attacks and cause fear.
I don't. Yeah. I don't know. These things are scary. They're expensive, but they are really scary.
Definitely. And that's just going through the melee infantry. Now we've got missile infantry, which is owned by the Chaos Dwarfs.
Yes, so Chaos finally has range attacks.
Yeah, which is very exciting. So they've got armoured, good range, decent melee combatants. I think they are just Dwarf Crossbowmen, aren't they? With a different skin or something.
They're just Dwarf Crossbowmen, pretty much,
Yeah, and the same for
And the other ones are just the Riflemen.
They've armour piercing. Actually, do the normal dwarves have shields? And these are armoured and shielded.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they actually do. The Quarrelers have shields,
Okay, no, that's cool.
The Thunderers don't. No, wait. No, we'll see. We'll see when we get there.
Yeah. We've got to check that out. So, going over the Cavalry and Chariots, you've got the Kurgan's Mounted Hunters, which are shielded and Vanguard deployment.
Very basic.
Very basic,
but they do have silver shields, which is cool.
Yeah, against, if you want to harass people. Then you've got... I'm trying to think, Chaos Knights of Lancers, they both had, didn't they?
Yeah.
I believe.
The Blood God Cavalry is new.
Blood God Cavalry.
Yes, highest armor I've seen so far, 127.
Well, it makes sense. Armored, shielded, armor piercing, damage dealer, causes fear.
And they Sunder armor. Sunder armor.
That's mad. I mean, if that gets a rear charge on a heavy armored fin, that's good. And it's got Strider.
And on top of that, Encourage,
and they've got Strider, so they're not affected by terrain.
It's insane.
And they are. I mean, look at the cost though, 1,650. That's that.
Yeah, but still, they are worth every gold piece you're going to spend on them.
That would probably be best against leading a wing of cavalry. I would have thought, have a couple of other ones and have them leading. So moving on.
But what's also insane is anywhere where they go, they'll encourage. So you are kind of encouraged to just slam them into the lines
and cause fear for the enemy. So that's a bit mad. Okay, and the next one in the Missile Cavalry is the Chaos Mounted Warriors of Javelins. I don't believe that wasn't in the original, was it?
Yeah.
So armor piercing missiles is Vanguard deployment as well. Yeah, that's just
interesting. Yeah, they can fireball their move as well.
Yes, they can. Nice. So that would be brilliant for hunting those big monsters down, like the Lizardmen have, or dragons, things like that. Just run around them, throwing javelins up in the air. It's
exactly
going to be very good. And the last one on my army for the Chaos is the Flesh Hounds of Khorne, which have an amazing model on them. We won't show you now.
Yes, they do.
But they are amazingly good looking. Damage dealer, melee expert, very fast, scaly skin, missile resistance.
They do flaming attacks.
Yep, flaming attacks. They've got Vanguard. They've got Strider.
Everything.
They are just
pretty
beautiful in every way.
Yeah. Just a fun fact to mention, sorry Shadow, is the fact that you'll notice that some of the costs of the basic units are different than what they were in the original game.
Yes.
And it's just because in this mod they've been recalculated and rebalanced. So if something does look odd, like for example the Hell Cannon at 1.4, it's just because they've been rebalanced.
It's the same for the new races, isn't it? Like you notice the Lizardmen are slightly more expensive, like the Skinks.
Yes.
If I go on your
Lizardmen had 500 gold Skinks instead of 400. So yeah, there's minor differences here and there, but that's just because they're trying to rebalance everything.
Very Very nice, very nice. So that was my first new, well, old/new chaos. So now, are we gonna do your favorite race next? The one you're really hooked about?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, of course we can. So we've got Vampire Ghost, guys, and I'm very excited to play with these guys. I think that's going to be pretty cool. We're hopefully going to stomp on some high elves. That should be fun. So, just kicking this off, guys, you'll notice that majority of the lords are pretty much the same. You still have, you know, your Vlads and your Manfreds and those guys. Heroes, same story. We do move down to the zombies, the skeletons, all the same. Skeleton Spearmen, the same. However, we do have Skeleton Reapers. Skeleton Reapers now basically come in, and they are an armor-piercing skeleton warrior.
They've got great
Nothing
swords.
else special about them. Yep, they've got great swords. Nothing else special about them, except for the fact that they do 16 armor-piercing damage. It's surprisingly high, I think, for their cost. So they're a pretty interesting addition. The Crypt Ghouls, they're pretty much the same. However, we then have 3 new units, and these are pretty much the human slaves, hoping to gain immortality one day, I should assume. And they are the Solvent Spearmen, Solvent Swordsman, and the Solvent Halberdiers. So the Swordsman, basic guys. They just have shielded, but they do have Vanguard deployment.
I just noticed that myself.
So
it's just all 3 of them have.
Yeah, it's but what you would notice actually is they do a significant amount of damage. So they might not be entirely fast, but they do have the bronze shield, so it's like 40% of small arms fire. And they Vanguard deployed, so you could use them in interesting like sneak attacks and ambushes. We then have the Solvent Spearmen. Same story, nothing too special about them, with the exception, of course, that they do have anti-large as well. And they do about 12 additional damage against large targets, which is not too bad. Finally, the Halberdiers. Now, these 3, you can pretty much just imagine the Empire units after they've been beaten into submission by vampires. The Sylvanian Halberdiers, same story, armor piercing, of course, Vanguard deployment, as we've seen. And yeah, the armor piercing damage is not bad. So 17 base and 18 on the armor piercing. Really not bad for like a 690 unit. We then have our Graveguard. They're pretty much the same. Cairn Wraiths, pretty much the same. However, we do have Graveguard with spears. And this is kind of madness when you think about it, because these guys now pop out as anti-large Graveguard with silver shields, 97 armor, and they're anti-large. So looking at their damage there, yeah, they actually do a significant amount of damage, and the armor-piercing section of their damage is not too damn bad. So plus 16 over there. Other than that, just the basic undead stats. We also have Graveguard with Halberdiers. Or halberds. So
you're loving this, aren't you? You're just loving it.
Dude, I'm losing my poo. That's what I'm doing. All right. So armored, armor piercing, and anti-large. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Armor piercing and anti-large for like 880, and their damage is actually quite significant. So they're doing 20 armor piercing damage plus an additional 12 versus large. It's pretty significant. Then we have the standard Graveguard with the great weapons. Yeah, I mean, nothing special there. Then we have Blackguards, and Blackguards are kind of like a Graveguard upgraded, right? All of these guys have the melee expert, except for the halberds. So if we're looking at the Blackguards with shields, they have silver shields and 107 armor. They do poison damage, which is pretty good, and they are pretty much anti-infantry. So you're looking at like 32 weapon damage, 10 armor piercing and bonus. But the interesting thing here, of course, is they've got melee experts, so they're pretty damn good. And anti-infantry. Their great swords they armored. Yes, they don't have shielding, but they are melee experts as well, and they've got armor sundering, and they do magical damage.
I just noticed that. Yeah, wow, that's pretty good. Great sword.
It's actually a pretty good greatsword, and if we just look at the weapon strength here, 28 damage and 16 armor piercing, not bad. Finally, the Blackguards with the halberds, they again do the poison damage. So each one of these basically brings something like they've got armor piercing and a damage dealer, but they also bring something additional to the table, like armor sundering or poison or those kinds of things. We then have 2 units here, and I'm just going to show them together, even though they split up by cost. So you've got the Abarash Disciples, and you've got the Abarash Disciples, but with great swords. So the Abarath Disciples are a basic anti-infantry unit. They do have shields, so bronze shield over there, but they are anti-infantry. And their damage is also quite high, so they've got 34 base damage, 9 armor piercing damage, but a bonus of 8 to that stat. And I think the only thing that really makes these guys really good is the fact that they have 117 armor. We also then have the Abarash with the greatswords. And yeah, the only real difference here, of course, is the fact that they've got armor piercing, which is quite significant, and they have 117 armor, so that's pretty good.
Just no shield.
The ones
to
I'm
it,
kind of, yeah, just no shield to it, really. One of the ones I'm kind of interested in is the Dismounted Blood Knights. So they're your regular Blood Knights, but they just melee experts on the ground. Bronze shield, 117 armor, magic damage, but their weapon strength is quite high. They do a lot of damage, and they have encourage, ironically enough.
How can you encourage
which is
the
an interesting
dead?
thing.
I assume it's for the human factions as well.
You do. You just encourage them to not fall apart. You speak to them nicely, like you would in a regular workplace. This is a job. So after that, we have the Doomed Legion. Doomed Legion, very cool. Two versions of it. First one is the regular Doomed Legion with the spears, armored and shielded, anti-large, of course, 111 armor with silver shields. It's a fairly strong undead unit, and then yeah, their damage is quite good. So it's 29 and 16 bonus. They also do have that charge defense against large.
And missile
the
resistance.
Irregular sword.
They've got missile resistance.
Oh yes, 50%. And missile resistance.
So there's so much in this. We have to remind each other what there's so many little things.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. But if you think about it, you've got the 50% block of small arms fire, and then you've got a 15% missile resistance in there. Yeah, it stacks up.
It's 65.
You also have Mordaunt's. Exactly. Then you have Mordaunt's Chosens, armored and shielded, melee expert again, and a damage dealer. So their weapon strength is 46, so they do like literally 33 plus 13 damage. It's pretty good. Charge bonus is not too bad. And yeah, 111 armor, silver shield. These guys are pretty solid. Then you have Dismounted Knights of the Black Grail. These guys are just pure damage dealers. So they do have encourage. So if you have Sylvanian guys in there, that helps. But also it helps your, stops your undead from crumbling and shattering and all those ugly things. Armor piercing damage dealer, 122 base armor. Not freaking bad. And then armor piercing damage, quite significant. It does more armor piercing damage than regular damage. The last one here, Dismounted Drakenhof. Templars, yep, again, these guys are just pure damage, so armored and shielded, anti-infantry, and a melee expert. 117 armor with a silver shield. We've got 46 damage over there on the melee attack. It's magical. And yeah, 32 damage base plus 10 for infantry. Really not bad. And then they've got expert charge defense. So yeah, they can brace against anything if they wanted to. And that just covers the infantry.
Well, not
and
all
now,
the infantry.
sacrilege.
Infantry.
Yeah, just the new infantry. But now, sacrilege upon sacrilege, the vampire counts have ranged units. That's pretty hilarious. So, no, I do not. So, we've got the skeleton archers popping in here at 450, decent range, 160 range. Decent damage, just 21 damage. Yeah, nothing special, but nothing bad. We then also have Sylvanian Crossbowmen, and the Sylvanian Crossbowmen do have the armor-piercing missiles and Vanguard deployment. Dude, the entire Sylvanian army has Vanguard deployment, by the way.
So you can have them ambush around... Oh, can you imagine them in free falls? Yes, you could play this in free falls, by the way, which we are going to do later today. That's going to be amazing. Yeah,
we are going to definitely try and get that. All right, let me just speed this up. So we've got the Asaph Chosen Archers. They're armored, good range, yes, at 170. That's quite incredible. They are decent in melee combat, and they've got poison attacks as well. So their melee attacks have poison, and their range attacks have poison. And of course, they have all the basic undead stats. Now, moving down a little bit, here we go to the cavalry. So something new here is the mounted skeletons. I think they're new, yes?
Yes, no, they're definitely new.
They definitely new, yeah. All right, so basic. They're like 700 points. Nothing special. They're no special stats. They're just very fast. At 76, not that fast, but for an undead, that is pretty damn fast. Black Knights are there. They've always been there. We now have a Blood Knights variant that's got swords. So they actually move from shock cavalry into basic cavalry. And they also have the encourage skill on them, which is pretty cool to have. and they're basic anti-infantry, so magical damage, and their damage stats are just like 30, and then bonus of 10 versus infantry, and they have the same flag of the blood keep as they always had. Then we've got Knights of the Black Grail. Now these guys seem very interesting to me. They're armored and shielded, anti-infantry, silver shields, clocking in 122 armor, really good. Leadership of 80. They also have the encourage skill, which makes the leadership of 80 so much better. And then their weapon strength here, 31 damage, 12 armor piercing, and then 10 additional versus infantry. And the last guy, I believe, the last guy we have is the Off Templars. They're armored and shielded, they've got armor piercing, and they are pure damage dealers. Coming in with a silver shield at 117 armor, magical damage of course, and yeah, they do 20 regular damage, and then they do 26 armor piercing damage. So yes guys, there's a lot of options that we need to go through when we want to actually build armies. So that's the second old army. You want to take us maybe through your other old army?
I don't know if I want to, because it's probably one of the biggest ones in this mod, which is the New World colonies.
Yes.
Oh, they're insane.
Oh, good grief. Okay, we're going to have to speed this up so much.
Well, look at the infantry. There is like 30 or 40 infantry choices at this point. So,
yeah.
Right, let's go very quickly.
Guys, these...
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't you go, what were you saying?
Go. No. I was going to say, just like hover over them and we'll just read out their base stats, and then whichever ones you decide to put in your army, we can cover in detail, because there's a lot.
This is taking a long time. Yeah, it was maybe a 10-minute video. So we got Leopold's Leopard Company, so anti-infantry, anti-large, and charge defense against large. They also have so that's ridiculous for basic infantry. You've got the Drakeward Gruncaps, is it pronounced? Which are shielded, anti-large, and vanguard deployment, so they could cause some problems. And they have Strider, so they ignore terrain penalties.
Oh yes, with their 32 speed, they will ignore everything.
That is mad for infantry. You then got Dev's Heads, which are shielded. They're anti-large, which makes sense because they've got Halberds. They've got so that's pretty much it. The bronze shield.
They have armor piercing though.
That's the one. Yeah. Of course they would, they're Halberds. You've then got Drakeward
Crimson Defiance,
which are shielded, armor piercing, once again vanguard deployment with Strider. So, they could be so devastating. There's a lot of vanguard in the vampire and human armies now.
Yeah, there is.
Something I'm very excited about. We now have armored spearmen, so armored and shielded, armor piercing, and anti-large with a silver shield as well. So that is hugely damaging. You've then got armoured swordsmen, so obviously they're anti-infantry equivalent. Veteran halberdiers, so armoured, anti-large, and these are just slightly better. They're immune to psychology because they've seen it already, so they're not as scared as the new guys. You got veteran swordsmen, again very similar to the normal swordsmen, apart from they got immune to psychology.
And they've got charge defense against all. Not just large.
Yes, they have, haven't they? Is that both of them? Nah, it's just the swordsman have it against all.
Just them, yeah.
I'm sorry this is going quite fast for viewers, but as you can see, there is so much to cover. So,
this is so much.
Other than, hang on, I've got someone trying to talk to me on Steam. Whoops.
Okay, so that's the Avalon Halberdiers.
Yep, so these are armoured, anti-large, charge against large foes.
Cause fear.
Oh, they do as well, flipping heck. So that is a bit insane. We've got Imperial Foot. So armoured, shielded, anti-infantry, charge defense against all. Just looking at their damage and that. But like I said, we've got to go through this really quickly. So you've got Imperial Foot. They've great sword, so pretty much the same, but armoured and armour piercing. This is what I get, like Knight of More Halberdiers. So armour piercing, anti-large, charge defense against large foes. Knight of More Swordsmen, so again the anti-infantry, they're both immune to psychology, and I think they've both got encourage as well. Oddstdorf Company of Honour, armoured and shielded, anti-large, charge defense against large, and they've got it's just expert charge pretty much. Something I like the look of. Hammers of Sigma, so we can have warrior priests and that fighting. Yes. So armored and shielded, armor piercing, a melee expert, they have magical attacks, silver shield, the usual. You've got the warrior priest of Sigmar, armored anti-infantry, melee expert, charge defense against all. There's a lot of charge defense against dwarves as well in the Empire now.
Yeah, there is.
With magic resistance of 15, encourage, and they've got benediction. That's huge. The magical attacks as well.
That is huge.
That is the warrior priest of Ulrich, armored melee expert, damage dealers, magic resistance, and benediction again, and encourage. So just a bigger version of the priests. Dismounted Knights of the Blazing Sun with halberds as well. Armored anti-large melee expert.
Pretty good.
That is going to be amazing. They've got a fire resistance of 30%. They do fire damage. They have anti-large, and they have immune psychology. So these guys are deadly against big guys. And dismount. Sorry, you said?
No.
Just agreeing with excitement. Dismounted.
I'm just agreeing. Yes.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Dismounted Knights of the Blazing Sun with swords, so armored and shielded, anti-infantry, charge against all. Again, they have 30% fire resistance, immune psychology, and fire damage. And they have armor of 127. I just noticed. So that's a lot.
With the silver shields.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. So we'll skip straight to the missiles. So we've got the Ranger Crossbowmen. Yes, we have Rangers now. Armor piercing, decent melee combatants, vanguard deployment, and then you've got leopard archers, which these are just basic archers by the looks of it, but still they look so good.
But their range is pretty good, 175.
Oh flip, yeah, it is, isn't it? See, there's so much to cover here. Dev heads.
No, it's ridiculous.
Dev heads, handgunners.
Handgunners.
Armor piercing, decent melee combatant. Again, nice unit there. You've got Drackwood's God Gentlemen, some surefires. Oh my god, words fail me. Drackwood's gone. Go, you give it a go.
Surefire. Yeah, it's Drackwood's Gunderman surefire.
Try saying that 3 times when you're drunk fast. Okay, so these guys are armor piercing.
I will try.
They've got Vanguard and Strider again, so they could really fire and use the terrain, couldn't they, to get in between people? And that'd be amazing. You've got Huntsmen now, so good range, decent Vanguard deployment. So these archers could be really good ambushers and would.
Yeah.
Then this is what I get excited. Neon Engineers with a repeater rifle. So now can have a unit of repeater rifles, which are, the missile damage is 45, the range is 155. That is just going to be suffer. But it gets better because we have.
It's disgusting.
Engineers with grenade launchers. So you can have a whole unit of infantry. But as you can see, these are getting costly of over 1,000. And personal favourite, Hochland's long rifles have a range of 200.
I agree.
Good range.
Little snipers.
Yeah, they're going to be so fun to use. Just have them in a hill at the back. So, Cavalry and Chariots. You've got the Drak World Patrol Cavalry. I've got it there. Armoured and shielded, very fast, and again, Vanguard deployment. Liv Strider.
Proud of you, man.
Thank you very much. Yeah, as you can see, these are really good, fast cavalry, good harassment.
Yeah.
The next are the Knights of More Cavalry. So, armoured and shielded, anti-infantry. These guys are the god of the dead, so cause they fear, encourage, strider, immune psychology, and they. By the way, we can now cavalry have the flying wedge formation. Empire cavalry have wedge formation, which is going to be fantastic. You now have Knights of the Hammers of Sigmar, so you've got priests on knights on horse.
On freaking horses, yes.
So armoured and shielded, armour piercing, melee expert, encourage. Missile resistance 15, magical attacks. Really good. 22 weapon damage, 23 armor piercing damage as well, which is brilliant. And then finally, you've got Knights of the Blazing Sun swords. So as you had with your guys, they can now stay in the fire a bit longer with armored, and shielded, anti-infantry, damage dealer, flaming attacks, flaming resistance, the wedge formation. They're gonna
pretty sick.
They're gonna be amazing. I believe that is everything of the Empire. Well, the New World.
What's all the new things?
Can I breathe now?
Yes. You may indeed. All right, so let's quickly hop on to Karak Zorn, which is the last army that I'll be playing. That is the Dwarfs. They still have access to some of the regular Dwarf Lords. They still have access to some of the regular Dwarf Heroes. Just moving in here, we've got all basic miners, or miners with blasting charges. We can skip over these guys because they're there. We do have dwarven warriors with long axes now, and ironically enough, that gives them anti-large. So they're almost the same cost as the dwarven warriors with great weapons. They just have the anti-large trait as well. And they have fairly decent armor piercing, fairly decent anti-large. From there, we've got our regular longbeards, but we do end up with the Iron Hammer Warriors. The Iron Hammer Warriors, armored and shielded, anti-infantry. They're armor sundering and charge defense against all. So that's pretty good. 102 armor, silver shield. Damage really not too bad. Very next one, the Dragon Company. So they are all armored and shielded, armor piercing. They do fire damage. They have encourage because they're like what do you call them? They're longbeards basically. And they've got the old Grumbler special rule. After that, we've got great beards.
Well.
Great.
Just need to point that out.
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. And then we've got the Great Beards, armored and shielded. They are melee experts. And again, they do magical damage. This is something that the dwarves have really been suffering against, is anything that's got resist physical, but these guys might just sort that out. Okay, also immune to psychology, encourage, and of course the magic resistance. Now, this is the insane thing that I noticed earlier that I nearly pooped myself over. There's hammerers, guys, with shields.
Oh, no.
That's ridiculous.
That's almost as bad as skeletons of bow and arrows.
Yes, that's correct. So they are anti-infantry melee experts, ironically enough, and then they've got 102 armor, and they do bonus damage against infantry. Really, really cool. And they also have expert charge defense, so charge defense against all. And then we have the Iron Breakers, the regular Iron Breakers, but then we have Iron Breakers with great weapons. So these guys are armored, armor piercing, and anti-large. And yeah, they've got the bonus versus large, decent armor piercing, etc. And that brings us to the last two. So we've got Grungees Berserkers. These guys are armored, anti-large. They have frenzy and charge defense against all, decent armor, decent damage. Yet again, I think it's pretty much just value for money over there. Finally ending with Grungees Berserkers, and these guys are armored, anti-infantry with frenzy, and they pretty much have the same stats. So these guys are exactly the same thing. One being the Grungees Berserkers. The one being anti-large, one being anti-infantry. That covers the infantry. We are then moving on. So we've got Quarrelers with great weapons, Thunderers, they were always there. But now we have the Drakebeard Axe Throwers. These guys are armored and shielded, decent in melee combat, special ranged weapon. 93 armor with a shield, of course. And they do nice armor piercing damage, about 23 of it, and their range is 70, so they actually just throw their axes. We also have the Stonebreakers, which is new, armored and shielded, armor piercing, special ranged weapon, good against gates. Are you bringing any gates, Shadow?
Damn, that's my secret weapon. Just put a gate in the middle of an open field.
Oh no!
Well, it'll be like Blazing Shadows of the toe. You have to pay a toe to get through the gate, and it'll slow your army down.
Exactly. Okay, but they do have the ammunition. They do have fire damage there. So we've got Dwarven Scouts. I don't think Scouts were in there.
No, they definitely weren't.
Nope, they were not. So they've got armor-piercing missiles, decent melee combat, vanguard deployment, but they also have a smoke bomb, which was on the White Dwarf, the legendary White Dwarf, and their range is immense. It's 170. Wow. So that's pretty good. After that, we have the Hel Hel Hind Gunners. I nearly tripped over that one myself. Armored and shielded, armor piercing. And they're basically like the upgrade for the Quarrelers and for the Thunderers. Okay. After that, we have the Treasure Hunters. Again, these guys are kind of like the Rangers, so they're Treasure Hunters. They're armored vanguard deployment, poison attacks on both melee and on their ranged. They are decent in melee because they are dwarves, but they do have Strider and vanguard deployment. Then we've got the Iron Drakes. Now, they were there always. And then we've got the Sons of Ullek and the Gunnison Dwarves. So the Sons of Ullek, they're armored, armor piercing, decent in melee combat. And they basically just sport like a fair amount of damage in ranged. Nothing too weird or cryptic about them. And the last guy is the Gunnison Dwarves. They're armored, decent in melee combat. And they pretty much just do bonus damage versus infantry. I believe that they have. Let me just double check this before I talk out of my bum. No, okay. So yeah, they just do regular missile damage, and I think that at least covers the dwarfs.
That does indeed cover
Yes.
everything of the 4 new race. What a mouthful!
There we
Flipping
go.
heck.
No, it's definitely a mouthful, and we wanted to do this in like a quick 5 to 10 minutes video, but I think it took a little bit longer, unfortunately.
Yeah, let's just check
but
the
you guys
time
can just
out.
imagine.
It's 39 minutes in.
Oh, good lord, no!
We've been going over half an hour.
Guys, sorry about that, but we just wanted you guys to share in the hype. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. So we'll be taking each other on. Old world versus new world. I hope you guys are going to join in. I think we should just like stop this thing right here.
Yeah,
before
we're just stopping right
out
now
of
because
control.
we've got to upload this. Yeah, it's going to be hours.
yeah. There we go. All right. Yeah, but that's going to be it from us, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please tune in for these games. They are going to be epic.
They are going to be huge. And they're the classics. Lizardmen against Chaos. That's the oldest fight in the history of Warhammer. And Dwarfs and Bats, we're going to have a subterranean battle. Oh, and of course, there's other factions. There, I'm just going to quickly show. I'm not going to just. There you go. Look at that. That drop down. All those are. There's loads of stuff here. So if there's anything you like the look of, comment below, and we'll try and fit that battle in at a later date. You know, grudge matches, things like that. It's got to be good. Like Kislev and Norska. We got to do that at some point. It's got to be good. So
yes.
Thank you very much for joining me, Pshyc.
Anyway. Yeah, no, it's a pleasure, man. And yeah, so we will be attempting to get this done. Well, tomorrow. If I think about when this goes up, so tomorrow this should happen, and then the day after we should have the first one up.
We hope. Fingers crossed.
Is my math correct here?
I don't do maths. I'm not paid for maths.
I don't know. All right. Okay. All right, so let's just wrap it up. So thank you guys. Thank you very much for watching. Again, if you like the content on the channels, either mine or Shadow's, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button, click the little bell icon so you always get the notifications. Again, Shadow, thank you for bringing this under my attention. This is going to be really fun to do, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, likewise. It's going to be brilliant. So thank you all guys for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Till then, take care.
Bye-bye.